All right, I got some more Cyberpunk news for you all today because yes, CD Projekt RED has been busy communicating with fans, and we got a brand new live stream from Paolo Sasco, lead quest signer on the game, and he gives us new updates about what is going on with Cyberpunk's future. We're going to talk about that here in just a moment. Plus, we're going to be taking a look at third-person perspective and what they could be potentially doing with that, and more feedback from the community. But let's start here with this headline. It says Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt RED dev says there's still work to be done, reaffirms expansions are on the way. And yeah, Paolo Sasco was once again in his streams talking to the community. I'd love to see this, and he had some very interesting things to say. Let's get into exactly what was said here. Here are the quotes. It says, on a recent live stream, Quest director Paolo Sasco confirmed that the team is still actively working on improving Cyberpunk. Sasco says that they are very aware that there's still work to be done to the game and that he's personally improving Quest daily in order to bring it more in line with audience expectations. You guys remember the E3 2018 presentation? I think that's kind of what he's referring to. Then we have this one. We're still improving the game because we are all aware that there's work to be done, said Sasco, responding to a fan who asked about the future of Cyberpunk content in 2022. We're very happy you guys liked update 1.5, and that gives us more incentive to work for you guys because you show your appreciation for it. So yeah, they're very motivated by the response to update 1.5, so they're willing to work in the trenches for the fan base, for the community even more so. So that's great to hear. Then it says this, that's as much as I can tell you. We are working on stuff for you, like I'm literally daily reviewing quests, talking to people about stuff, so it is happening. But what about expansions? That's what I'm mostly curious about. I want to know about the big expansions coming up here, so let's take a look, shall we? Goes on to say this, Sasco also hinted that an expansion might not be far off and is actively being worked on now. However, like the other future updates, he can't discuss this in detail right now. I cannot tell you anything about our future plans, but I can assure you that we are working on expansions. We're working on stuff for you guys. Yeah, and you know, like I said in previous videos, which you can check out on the channel, it seems like they really want to match or surpass the DLC support that The Witcher 3 got with Cyberpunk 2077. And in fact, it seems like a lot of you guys want to see more than just 2 big expansions, maybe 4, maybe 5, something like that. But that would be really, really cool. But let's see what the community had to say in response to this. We have this one right here. Zoom this in a little bit more for you all. It says this. So for those clicking on this thread, hoping for real news, this is a bit outdated, but 100% confirmed because it's actually in-game files and spawnable with Cyber Engine tweaks. Check this out. It says there are several new guns and at least 1 new melee coming, some kind of transmog or at least hide gear in the works. There are 4 previously cut gigs making a return, all of which are on the longer side as far as gigs go. One involves a non-scripted car chase, implying they're working on better chase AI, which will probably transfer over to the police system when it's done. So that's from data mining. That is not confirmed whatsoever by CD Projekt RED. So please remember that. That right there is speculation, but in my opinion, very, very good speculation, because a lot of this data mining stuff from a particular source has come true. Now, a lot of you guys want to see this though. New Game Plus. That's what we want. That would be really cool to see, but we have some insight as to when we could expect New Game Plus. Check this out right here. This one comes from Swiper, who says, for Witcher 3, New Game Plus was the last free DLC that came right out as the first expansion was released, I'm guessing they'll do the same with Cyberpunk. My bet is on the expansion coming either with 1.6 or 1.7, basically anytime between now and August. Yeah, and there's a lot of theories, by the way, that perhaps the first expansion would be releasing later in summer. Now, that is complete speculation. We'll have to wait for an official release date. But again, when they start talking about the expansion and showing marketing materials for that, it usually takes about 3 months for that expansion to finally release. That's usually what they do. Now we have this one right here from Crab Jealous, who says, I want the sewers opened because that's where the real woo-wow happens. The corpo and residential towers made explorable, more activities, random encounters. Pacifica made the center of chaos. It actually is the wastelands inhabited by weirdos and cult gangs, the ability to hijack aircraft and perform gig amongst the skies, generally a vibrant, chaotic city that never sleeps and never buries its dead. I love the wording in this one, by the way, but yeah, I would love to see everything he mentioned, including the ability to fly around. That would be really cool. We haven't talked much about that, of course. Let me know if that's something you guys would like to see. Now, this is a very interesting discussion about third-person perspective and how they can actually do it within the lore of Cyberpunk. Now, we know that they have a job listing, but they are looking to hire someone that has experience with creating third-person cameras for both in-game gameplay and cinematics. So, check this out right here. It says CD Projekt RED could add the third-person perspective in the form of an item sold in the game. The item would be a nano drone that activated would transmit the image of V's back straight to the Karaoke, and when V enters combat, the drone would deactivate. No more excuses for not adding in third person. You play this clip right here. This would be a really cool way to introduce it in a legit fashion, you know, by explaining it through lore. But yeah, that would be very interesting. Seems like a lot of people are on board this idea for sure. So maybe, just maybe, this could actually happen. We'll have to wait and find out, of course. But let's keep going, shall we? So a lot of you guys want to see content from the E3 2018 demonstration. Check this out. It says, at least they are trying to bring back those cut unfinished contents back, but still they have a long way to live up to that 2018 demo. So my biggest question for you all right now, and really think about it, what is your number one feature that you would like to see return, I guess you would say, to Cyberpunk 2077 that was supposedly cut or didn't make it into the final game? What would that feature be? I myself want to see something around traversal, perhaps parkour, more parkour-like mechanics introduced. I have this thing when I'm walking around Night City, I just so badly want to go into a parkour run. I don't know what it is. This game does have some of that in it, but I would like them to expand the parkour moveset even more. That's just my opinion. But anyway, let's keep going. We have this one right here. It says, if you own, I believe he says, a good pair of headphones, you owe it to yourself to use them when playing Cyberpunk. You won't regret it. Its atmospheric audio is absolutely top notch. Also, a significant amount of ambient chatter goes unnoticed when using speakers. It's literally the difference between living in a lifeless world and living in a living one. Events that look like no one reacts to when using speakers suddenly have all of this commentary from the world around you you just couldn't hear without headphones. Even if you're just plugging your headphones into your console controller, the change is in immersion cannot be unstated. You will not regret it unless you break your headphones. Then you'll regret not being able to play Cyberpunk with it. But yeah, try it. Let me know what you guys think, if there's a big difference between using speakers and headphones. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a shot. I usually just use speakers. But yeah, more and more I'm paying attention to audio. But it would be really, really cool to mess around with this and get feedback about what you guys think about the actual audio when using headphones. That's a really cool tip right there. But let's get into your top comments from my most recent video, shall we? So this was my most recent video right here. It is Cyberpunk third-person view in development at CD Projekt RED. This will change everything. Now, the big question is this going to be for just single player or multiplayer or both? That's what I'm wondering and kind of concerned about. Hopefully it's not just for like a multiplayer component or something. But let's get into the comments. Alice says this, definitely wanted third-person cutscenes considering there's a fair amount of customization. That's like the number one reason I would want third-person, is to be able to see my V, my customization, my gear. Because for me right now, clothing is kind of like pointless, at least in games like Fallout, Skyrim. I know third person isn't the go-to camera, especially when in combat, but it's cool to have that option when walking around cities or, you know, just having a peaceful moment where you can see your character. So we really need something like that in Cyberpunk. But personally, I want it to be fully playable. I want to be able to experience third person in combat and just stay in third person and be confident in third person in Cyberpunk. Orion says this, okay, this is huge. Very stoked to see how this plays out. I hope it plays out well and it's not just for multiplayer. Then we have Drake Austin 12, who says, I love that all the little interactions they added with the new apartments, and I would love to see more of that around the city. It would be super cool if I could go into a club, sit at a bar, and order a shot of 5 and get an animation like when you drink at your apartments. I also really want to be able to go to a food stand and get some dumplings and a cola or something and have it play an animation and give me a buff for a while, like taking a shower, sleeping, or drinking coffee. That'd be cool. I explore the city a lot on foot when I'm bored, and there's tons of cool stuff you just can't interact with. There's a lot of coffee shops around, especially. Let me go to the Brooklyn Barista and refresh my coffee buff. There's already a girl behind the counter, and she just will not take my order, unfortunately. Yeah, all these little nuances, in my opinion, have to be added to the game for it to really compete with some of these top tier AAA open world games. Then we have Mark, who says, gotta admit, if this is done right, it'll be pretty cool to see it in third person. 100% agree. Sirius says, I really wasn't expecting this officially interesting. I wonder if it is gonna make it into the current game, or is it for multiplayer only? This right here is by far the biggest question, because the guys that are developing the third-person camera are up in Vancouver, and they're working alongside the same team that is also developing multiplayer simultaneously. So that kind of makes me wonder what's going on there, if it's going to just be multiplayer. So I'm a little worried there, but we'll have to wait and see. I personally think if they do develop a third-person camera, that they would want to put it in the base game where single player is at. That just makes sense to me. Or I think they would piss off a lot of people. Then we have this one right here, USMC for Good. He says, definitely will keep an eye on this. If they finally come out with a third-person view, it will bring me back to the game. I like the game, but never finished it because I wasn't into first-person view, especially considering the massive amount of customization with this game. It's amazing that one choice they made by not including third-person view has had a long-lasting impact on the community, and maybe they could bring in tons of people back to this game. Now, I don't know when third-person view would be happening. We could speculate on that, but for me, I think it would take quite some time. That's my speculation, to develop a third-person perspective for this game, one that works throughout the entirety of this experience. But we'll see. Hopefully it's out by like expansion 2. But thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Cyberpunk 2077 and open world gaming goodness. Remember, I am covering Starfield. Please look out for those videos. It's going to be huge. If you're into Cyberpunk, I assure you, I think you're going to be playing Starfield. But thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.